MandoBug Crafts, episode 23! I am MandoBug, but you can call me Amanda if you want. You don't have to. You can call me MandoBug, like my brothers. So you can find link show notes on my blog at mandobugcrafts.blogspot.com. There's a link in the description of my YouTube video that will take you back there if you don't want to have to favorite it or type it in, or, you know, if you want to be a little lazy, because everybody likes to be a little lazy sometimes. I like to be a little lazy all the time, but I don't want to assume that on anyone else. So, starting the show out with something I've learned. This week I learned quite a bit about the drive band on my spinning wheel. So if you haven't seen the show before, welcome. And if you have, then you already know that I have a Ashford Traveler, and I purchased it fairly recently. Well, my husband purchased it for me as a gift fairly recently. And I was having issues over twisting my singles, and it wasn't until I was watching the Knit Girls, either like I think it was last week, and Laura was like, yeah, your wheel should never be pulling the fiber out of your hands as if you can't hold on to it. And I was like, oh, really? Because that was the problem. My tension band, my drive band was too tight. Because like my wheel, the way it's set up, there's like a little ball that twists and raises everything on the top, and it will tighten the band around your wheel and your bobbin and your whirl. And so yeah, what it was doing is it was making it so that my whirl and my spindle, or my whirl and my bobbin had to spin together, and it pulls the fiber right out of your hands. But if you loosen it, okay, I'll tell you what I do now. Now when I set up the tension on my wheel after I put on a new bobbin, I tighten it just enough that treadling will spin the whirl. Because if it's too loose, the bobbin will spin. This is on a double drive wheel, by the way, I'm sorry. I probably should have mentioned that first. So if it's too loose, only the bobbin will spin. But if you tighten it just enough that the whirl spins with the bobbin, it gives enough slack that you can hold the yarn that you're spinning, and the bobbin will stop spinning, and only the whirl will keep going. And what that does is it will stop the yarn from being pulled onto the bobbin. So it has made such a difference for me to be able to be like, no, wait, I'm not done yet, and then feed the wheel my yarn instead of it ripping it out of my hands faster than I can even control. So just being able to adjust the tension appropriately and properly on my wheel has made the world of a difference. And I should have played around with that a lot sooner, but I wasn't really sure what I was doing. In my instruction book that came with the wheel, it had like pictures of like a smiley face and a frowny face and like how it should be, and the way it looked is like some slack but not too much, but there wasn't any explanation of what should be going on with how the bobbin spins and the whirl spins. So yeah, so that was a great experience this week. So moving on to works in progress. So I haven't really touched a lot of the progress that I showed you guys last week, so I have some old stuff and some new stuff. So I cast on 2 of the same pattern. What? I'm crazy, basically is what it comes down to. So I found this pretty sweet pattern called Klepoctus. Maybe, maybe not. I'll put it here. And it's by this lovely lady, who I will also not attempt to say. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, and it uses US 6. And I've cast it on with my Lorna's Laces Fresh Stripe. Lorna's Laces in the Fresh Stripe colorway. And it looks like this so far. So this is like, it's a very short color change in the yarn. So of course I got the striping. I started cast-ons here. And as I work across, you can see the pooling. It is crazy. I wasn't really sure what to expect, but I'm kind of liking it. So this is going to be a shawl, and it's worked from one side to the other. And what I really like about this pattern is it goes by yards or weight. So you get to 50% of your yarn, and then because I'm doing the increases, you get to 50% and then you start the decreases. So it will use all of your yarn. And the cool thing about it is you could use hand spun if you didn't have a lot. It would be a small shawl, but it's a possibility. And I really like patterns that use all your yarn. So, and then this will actually not look like this. This is a dropped stitch pattern. So you can see on the back, I think, yeah, all the knits, I mean they're pearls on the other side, they're knits on the back. All these rows of knits, those will be dropped. And it will open this thing up. I mean, it will probably be double in size. I'm assuming. I've never done a drop stitch pattern before, so I'm really excited about that. But I was figuring it's probably a good way to get a bigger shawl from just one skein of sock yarn. So I'm kind of excited to see what this turns out like. And I'm hoping that will help with the pooling, kind of breaking itself up. It kind of looks like a funky zebra. So I don't know. I'm happy with it. It's going to be for my mother-in-law, so I hope she's happy with it. Don't tell me if you're not. No, just kidding. If you don't like it, let me know and I'll keep it and make you something else. Everyone has different taste, so you never know. I remember watching some podcast about somebody was saying there was like this hideous orange yarn and they couldn't imagine anyone that would ever want it, and I'm like, no, I want it. Orange is my favorite color. Like, just people have different tastes. And so I cast on another one of these Klapaktises. And this is in my Sunrise Fiber Company's Dessert Club of the Month yarn for January, which I think it's late enough to share. And she named it Champagne because the champagne cupcake recipe is what came with it, and that's why I cast this on, because I really wanted the cupcakes. And I was like, well, I was supposed to cast on and eat the cupcakes together, and I want the cupcakes now, so I guess I'm casting on now. So I bought a bottle of rosé, and because that's what the recipe called for, and I've never had that before. This is the kind I ended up getting. And it's so funny because, as you can tell, the bottle is empty. Because I opened it, made the cupcakes, and I was like, oh, this is pretty good. And it's gone now. I didn't drink it all in one night. It took me 2 nights. It was really good. I really like my wines, and this was like a sparkling light red wine, like a pink wine. So it was so good. It was scary to open though. I've never opened a champagne bottle before, and I watched a YouTube video on it and I opened it in the backyard and it shot almost over my back fence. So I'm glad I opened it outside. But yeah, I'm really enjoying that yarn. It's the classic sock champagne colorway, so I think both of those will turn out nicely. I'm kind of going back and forth on the 2 of them. It's a nice little, it's a repeat pattern, so it's easy to memorize and take with you places. So, and then my other work in progress is, I don't know, I'm pretty sure I've showed this, I don't know, probably like over a month ago. This is blue, no, that's every time, it's blue. Yes, this is blue, but the company is Mountain Color Ink. No, blue. That's why I'm confused. Ah! I wrote in my show notes Blue Mountain Ink. That's not what it is. I don't know why my mind keeps going there. It is Mountain Colors ink. I'm pretty sure. I will double check and I will put it at the bottom of the screen. It's Mountain Colors ink, and it's in the Northwind colorway, which is blue. And this is Targi. So I had started spinning it on my spindle, and I've gotten a little more done. But I decided to spin 2 ounces on my spindle and 2 ounces on my wheel, because I want to see the difference between spinning a fiber on my spindle and then on my wheel. So I was shooting for a worsted weight, and this is definitely bulky. This is a bulkier weight. And I wanted to spin the same weight on my wheel. And that did not happen at all. So Targi as a fiber is very thick. And it clings to itself. So it's very fluffy, thick guy, very grabby. So it's not a problem on the spindle, but on the wheel, it was aching my arm. It hurt. Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on a second. My doggy's barking. Sorry about that. So I think I was talking about how spinning the Targi on my wheel, oh yeah, it was hurting my hand because I had to put some force behind it to draft it, and it turned out really thick. So here's 2 ounces spun on my wheel. I love, 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 love the colors. The blue with a little bit of purple in it. But this is not going to be a worsted yarn. This is going to be a super bulky yarn. Super duper bulky yarn. So, yeah, I don't think I'm going to get a lot of yards out of this. I'm not very happy about that. But Targi likes to be bulky. And I figured it was gonna just by feeling the fiber, so. But I did, I think I mentioned to you guys before about, this is 2 ounces on my bobbin. There's no way it's fitting any more than that, and I'm not even gonna try. So, these are definitely 2 ounce bobbins. I plan on chain plying this as well as this when it's finished, and then I'm going to compare the two. I most likely will get more yards out of the spindle just because I have more control spinning slower than I do spinning faster on the wheel. So it's been an interesting experience. Moving on to finished objects. So I finished Silver by Lisa Much. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. I used a US size 7. That's not the size that the pattern calls for, and I think it was an 8, and I should have used an 8 because this is a very dense shawl. Very, very dense, and it's small. I had to cut 2 rows off the bottom because I ran out of yarn, and my bottom curls up. And so I think if I was going to make this again, I'd put a garter stitch, probably 2 rows of garter stitch on the bottom. It's got a garter stitch edging, along here. So 2 rows of garter on the bottom wouldn't have been bad, and I think it would stop the curling from happening, because I already blocked this. But the cool thing is, I think this will be a perfect little scarf. So, oh, my hair's getting so long. I seriously need a haircut. This is too much for me. It's too much upkeep. It's to the point now that I sit on it on accident. So, but yeah, I think this is a nice little scarf. So, it's too short for a shawl, so it has to be a shawl scarf. Shawlette. But I'm pleased with it. I really like the color. This is Neighborhood Fiber Company's Studio Sock in the Lincoln Park colorway, and it's fall oranges, pumpkin-y, rusty, my fave. So, I'm very pleased. And this I was doing as a knit along with the Homespun podcast for the month of January. So, I finished it on time. Look at me go. I'm so bad with deadlines. Seriously. You want me to not finish something? Give me a deadline. It's as soon as I get a deadline, I quit. I'm nope. Done. Not fun anymore. And then my other finished object is I finished plying the other 2 ounces of the hand-dyed domestic wool from Winderwood Farm that came with my wheel, and it's this one. So this turned out thinner than my first 2 ounces. My first 2 ounces was only 78 yards, and this one is 101. So this one is definitely more of a, like a true worsted instead of like a worsted bulky. So I am a little surprised though. I'm not sure if it was, I randomly split the fiber up as I spun it. So I'm not sure if it was the way I split the fiber, but one of these is not, one of these is not like the other. There's a lot of pink in the bottom one and not, well, now that I twisted them backwards. But there's a lot of pink in one and not in the other, and I'm not sure exactly why. I do know that I forgot I was soaking this one, and I soaked it overnight. And I only soaked this one for about 20 minutes to an hour. So I'm not sure if I washed the pink out in this one, if it came out. In both batches, the water turned very purple, so I know I lost purple, but I mean this one has like almost none of that bright pink. So I'm not really sure what happened with that. I mean, it could just be the way I spun it, or it could have come out. It's not a big deal to me. They are kind of quite different in weight, and I probably won't use them together in a project, but we'll see. Which takes me to check it out. I'm really excited about this one. So I ordered in the mail a book. I ordered Hand Dyeing Yarn and Fleece by Gail Callahan. And it came yesterday. What? Hand dyeing? Yup. So I have 2 pounds of undyed fiber. So you had to know that I was gonna end up playing with some dyeing, right? I mean, I've played with Kool-Aid dyeing in the past, but I want to try some acid dye. So this book is really cool. I started reading it last night, and I figured I can show you the chapters without it really giving away anything that, you know, because it's not a free book. But there's a chapter on setting up your dye studio, which is really cool. There is a chapter on fibers. So for people that aren't really familiar with fibers, it talks about how dye works with wool and cotton and, you know, animal versus plant protein. It talks about different dyes, so acid dyes and like natural dyeing from, you know, like onion skins and stuff, and like food coloring and like sports drinks mixes or like Kool-Aid mixes. There's a chapter on color power, so that's where it talks about color combinations and color theory and the color wheel. There's a chapter on no fear dyeing, and this is where all the dyeing techniques come in. There's, you know, dip dyeing, hand painting, immersion dyeing, tie dyeing, and there's one called the parking meter dye. And what that is it's an interesting way to do self-striping. I thought that was really interesting. And then there's a chapter on show-off patterns. So it's got a chapter on a bunch of patterns, how you can show off your hand-dyed yarn. It primarily focuses, even though it says yarn and fleece, its primary focus seems to be on dyeing yarn, but there is quite a bit of information on the fleece as well. So I'm really excited. I know that I'm going to primarily be dyeing my fleece because I'm tired of spinning plain fleece. It's boring, but, well, boring to me, I guess. But I think I'm going to try to do some yarn too. I'm not sure yet, but I don't know, I'm really excited. And I think this is a really good book. I read a lot of reviews on it before I even purchased it, and it seems, I haven't really read any complaints about it, and I like how it's, oh yeah, you can see, it's spiral bound, so that's really nice too. So yeah, if you're interested in dyeing and you don't know anything about it like me, check it out. So, off to current events. So, I'm all caught up on the 2014 sampler Mystery Knitalong by Marie Segueras. It's $8 to join for the year. And I'm doing it on USI 6 and Blue Sky alpacas. For these few squares, I'm in colorway 641, which Eat Sleep Knit calls True Red. So here is my second block. So if you are participating and you don't want to see, look away or fast forward a little bit. But I showed you guys my first block last week. This is the second block. Maybe that's too close. It's like a waffle looking stitch. And then here is the third block, which is a basket weave looking stitch. So this has been a lot of fun. Nice little quick knits. I'm really enjoying it, and I'm glad I'm caught up. So I just have to wait now for the next clue to come out and stay caught up. And then I'm also participating in the Twisted Gals Spin Along in the Completely Twisted and Arbitrary group on Ravelry. And their featured artist this month is Pigeon Roof Studios. And I had ordered her Superwash Merino in the Rusted Song colorway. And I spun it up and it is done. I know. I was so afraid to spin it on my wheel because I didn't think I was there where I wanted to be yet. And I'm actually pretty pleased with the results. So thanks to learning about the tension on my drive band, that made the world of a difference. So the first skein I split it up into 2-ounce batches because, like I showed you, my bobbins get really full. So I spun it in 2-ounce batches, and then I chain plied it onto my spindle. So I am still chain plying on my spindle, just because I don't have the confidence yet to do it on my wheel. I will eventually get there. I just didn't want to chance ruining this really nice fiber. So here is my first skein. It's so pretty! I really like this yarn so much. It is, I'm so glad. It's like bright pops of color. I'm glad I chain plied it. I absolutely love this. And it was really cool because, like, spinning it, there was like a bunch of white, and I expected there to be a lot of white yarn in the skein, and the white was spinning into the color, and it was taking like the reds and the blues and making them lighter shades. So instead of like the blue just by itself, I would get this like white to light blue to darker blue to the darkest blue, and then back again. So I mean, the color variation is just, it really blew me away. I wasn't expecting the yarn to look like this. So this is 2 ounces and it is 168 yards. So this is like a heavy fingering sport weight kind of. I was going for fingering, but it's a little thick. I'm still happy. So 168 yards here, and then I just finished plying up the other 2 ounces this morning. So it is still damp, but I can still show you. And here it is. So it's basically the same looking, it's just a little thinner. So this 2 ounces is 218 yards. So it's almost 50 yards more, and that made this an actual true fingering weight. So they're not the same weight, dang it. But I do think I will be using these two together because they're close enough. Close enough for me. I don't know what I'm going to be doing with them, but I feel like they need to be worn in this region. So either something for my head or my neck, which, I mean, maybe I'll make gloves. I haven't made any gloves yet. I don't know, but I'm really happy with the way that they turned out. And I do have to say, after watching my purple yarn bleed through their bath, these did not bleed at all. Pigeon Roof Studios knows what the heck they're doing, because no bleed, no staining, no bleeding. It was awesome. The colors were true to their pictures and amazing. And this is the Superwash Merino is super soft. So I went ahead and ordered, there's 3 colorways for the Spin-Along, and I went ahead and ordered the Scattered Lines in Superwash BFL. And I've never spun BFL before, and so I'm pretty dang excited to get that in the mail and try it out. So that will be coming soon. This Spin-Along goes until March, so I definitely think I can get it and spin it before it ends. So moving on to probably the most interesting part for you, the winners for the January Finished Objects thread. So there's 2 prizes. I mean, they're the same prize, but there's 2 different ways to get them. The winner of the most loves on the project is Linda. And she got the most loves on her Colfax shawl, knit out of Patton's Angora bamboo, and it is absolutely gorgeous. If you haven't gotten a chance to see it, the thread is still up, it's just locked. You can go check it out. It's gorgeous, and it's a good size. So congratulations. Send me a message of the pattern you would like to be gifted, as long as it is $10 or less. And then the other winner is a random drawing. So I put the names of everyone who submitted projects into this bag. I learned from the last drawing not to use something that crinkles so bad and kills everybody's hearing. So they're in there. There was 13 participants. Hey, that's a good number. You know why? Because now you have a 1 in 3 chance of winning. So the winner is, I'm mixing them up even more. It's Knitwim. It's Lindsay. So, Lindsay, you don't have to send me a message. You can just text me what pattern you want. And if you want to give it away to somebody else, I will draw again. But I think you entered. You definitely deserve to win. It's just funny that it happens that way. So, congratulations, Lizzie. Let me know what you want. That's funny. That is funny. So for current events, we also have the birthday cupcake giveaway going on until the week of my birthday, February 20th, and I will draw a random winner for that, and you'll get some delicious cupcakes if you win. And then I started a new thread that some of you have already gotten a chance to check out. It's the finished objects thread for February and March. So I want to do my finished object. They're kind of like knit/craft-alongs without being super formal. So I want to do them quarterly. So I've decided to just finish out February and March together to finish the first quarter. So basically, if you finish anything between February and March, post it up in the group. There's 3 categories that you can win from based on the projects that you finished. You only get 1 entry into each category, regardless of how many projects you share, just because I want it to be fair. Because I don't want to have to like, oh, use so many yards, or, you know what I mean? I don't want to have to do that. So just 1 entry per category, per person. And so the 3 categories are yarn. So anything you make with yarn, you can post it in there, and that will count as your entry into the yarn category. And I don't have prizes yet, but there will be prizes. And for the yarn category, it will most likely be some yarn. I'm thinking about, as I start playing with the hand dyeing, thinking about hand dyeing some yarn for the giveaway. So I'm thinking about self-striping sock yarn, so don't hold me to it. It depends on how this dyeing goes for me, but that's my thoughts. And then there is a fiber category, so anything you make out of fiber, spinning or felting, or if you come up with something else to do with it, anything crafty, go ahead and put that project in there as well, and that will go 1 entry into the fiber category. And the price for that will probably be fiber, and I'm probably going to hand dye that too for the prize. So like I said, that's not a guarantee. I will keep you guys updated. But that's what I'm thinking. And then for the fabric, there's a fabric category, and anything you make out of fabric, sewing, quilting. I'm going to even count cross stitching and embroidery in this category because it's on fabric. You know what I mean? So any of those projects, go ahead and submit it and you will get an entry into that category, and I'm not sure what the prize for that is going to be yet. I might wait to see some of the projects that you guys enter to see if it would be smarter to put a jelly roll up for the prize, or to do more of like a hand-painted embroidery floss is really pretty. I have some. Kind of depends on you guys. I really want to donate prizes that you guys want. You know what I mean? So it's the incentive for joining along in the fun. So that is going on now until March. And then upcoming events. So I did decide to join the Ravelinics, and they start Friday, February 7th, and they run through February 23rd. I joined Team Sasquatch, and my goal is to finish as many works in progress that I've started, starting with the oldest ones, except for maybe one. I don't think I'm going to work on the Kirby blanket, but I do really want to knock out some of those works in progresses that are over a year old, because let's face it, that's pretty much ridiculous. So that's my goal. The event's called Whips Dancing, and so there's events and then there's subcategories that the events kind of fall into, and some of them are really tempting. Like there's a subcategory that a project counts for, like if at the beginning of the Ravelinics you spin fiber and then knit it into a project, that is a subcategory, all in the 2 weeks-ish that it is. So I don't know, it's tempting, but I really just need to finish some works in progress, seriously. So other than that, I hope you guys have a good week, and happy crafting, and I will see you next week. Bye!